Hi, Mia.
Hey, Primo.
Hey. All right, we got Janelle. We got me. We need two more. We got two people who aren't able to make it tonight, which makes it dicey.
All right.
No Rashida and no what's his name? Not Milf.
I know. Yeah.
Other guy. What is his name?
Mr. Banks.
Yes, thanks.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Milford. Hello to all of our guests. Good to see you. Hello, Janelle.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Janelle.
We're just waiting on having a quorum. So there's two more members of our committee, but I think, Mia, correct me if I'm wrong, we can also get started.
Yeah.
With
so what's happened in prior instances where there's not a quorum of the committee vote is essentially you will just report the happenings to exec, and then exec will determine if they will move the applications forward to general board.
Okay. Easily enough done. And then
Yes.
We're also expecting Officer Charles from the first precinct, right?
Most definitely. I'm assuming she may be a bit delayed. I know that there are some holiday celebrations. I can hear the traffic outside of my window, so I know it's a lot going on outside.
Sounds good. And then we also have Mr. Pruitt with us. Welcome, Mr. Pruitt. Hi. Maybe we can also start off with Mr. Pruitt telling us a little bit about his designs, or we can jump right into the SLA applications. But Mia, what do you think we should go with?
I think I believe Mr. Pruitt is here visiting from Health and Social Services Committee. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Pruitt, your concerns were around ADA compliance of some of the businesses in the community.
Yeah, that's right. I want to say hello to everybody. I am a newbie to the system, so to speak, but I've been assigned the Health and Social Services Committee, and one of the things I wanted to do, based on personal experience, is to do a list of businesses in the district that are not Americans with Disabilities Act compliant. As you know, the ADA is the law of the land, and New York City has been operating under it since 1990, along with another one called the New York City's People with Disabilities and the Human Rights legislation. All three of those together dictate how that there should be no abutments against the handicapped or against disabilities, or the law actually sees such establishments as discrimination, in fact. And the reason why this means a lot to me is I have been recently diagnosed with Parkinson's about 3 years ago. As you know, or may not know, Parkinson's is a nervous disorder that makes it impossible to walk almost, and climbing staircases and without a roller, climbing staircases, running is out of the question. You're out of balance. There's a steady sense of falling in your head, and but there's no cure, and it gets worse as you get older. Though there's some good things going on. Well, it turns out there's a number of people that I'm running into in our area that has Parkinson's, and it turns out that one of our favorite restaurants, whose name will go unspoken right now, has a 4-inch slab across the door of the first floor. It's a full service restaurant that is really pretty to be in, and yet they're non-restaurant compliant. So I've been doing some work, some research in terms of maybe there's a grandfather clause. Well, there's no grandfather clause. After you had a year, if you were non-compliant when the law was passed in 1990, they gave you a year to fix whatever you had to rehab to make it ADA compliant, and that also stood for your restrooms. If you're a restaurant that has one restroom, you got to have grab bars and the like, and so and I have to candid admission. I used to be a restaurant writer in for a business publication 10 years ago. And when the ADA first came around, the restaurant owners were fearful that they would lose business because nobody would want to deal with the new modifications. But it turned out they boosted their sales. So that's one of the first things you often hear about why are you not ADA compliant? And it says, I'm gonna lose business. So no, you won't lose business. But the point is so what I want to do is create a list of pizza shops, restaurants, dry cleaners, nail salons throughout the district, and record those that have some sort of abutment that makes it impossible for a woman with a stroller or somebody in a wheelchair or me with a walker from gaining entry. And I wonder one of the reasons I wanted to come here was to the public safety committee is because I wanted to get you involved so that I mean, I don't know how this stuff works, but it just seemed like it was a part of health and human services, and I was disabused of that notion. But I don't want to give up the project, and I'm willing to work with you. I think one thing that we can do together is, as you go through the neighborhood, and as you go to work or play or go to your favorite bars or what have you, if you could just take a notice of, just ask yourself, if I was in a wheelchair, would I be able to enter this restaurant? And if your answer is no, jot down the address and take a picture. And then I will compile a list. And when that list is complete, I'll come back to the general community board to see what we should do about it. Now, I've said all of this to say that I have no notion if it's a widespread violations or if it's just one or two guys per block. I mean, and one or two guys per block would be a lot, but in the main, I'm under the impression that the business owners here are pretty compliant, but I know of at least 4 establishments that are not, and so but there could there be others, and so what I was wondering was, and I open this up to discussion, but one of my desires is that you would just jot down restaurant addresses and names and take a cell phone picture as you go through the neighborhood. And I'm ready for your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Pruitt. Hi to everybody.
Clear? Was that clear?
Yes, that was clear.
Oh.
Thank you for coming and for sharing your concerns, with us. And we're here obviously to support you and support the community and being the most accessible and available for folks who are experiencing disabilities or differently abled. And so we appreciate you coming and for sharing with us your own personal experience. And I believe that this committee can be of service to you, and I would like for you to not be turned away from more committees. And so I think the question is, how can we go about that most effectively? We certainly have things that we do typically, which is, working with the fire department, with the FDNY, primarily on issues of public safety. I think that potentially one of the things that I can do is have a conversation with Dante and with Mia about what existing city agencies do this work and how we might be able to partner with city agencies or with the larger community board in order to more effectively canvass the neighborhood and report incidences of ADA miscompliance or lack of compliance.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that, with the 4, 5, 6 members that are on this committee, it may not be as effective as having all 54 members of the community, 45 members of the community board.
I didn't know you guys were so shallow. I mean, with so small number. I didn't mean shallow in the mental sense, but
no, I hear you. Shallow in terms of our numbers of bodies. I think that is true, and so we would certainly love to be able to support you. I think the question is, how can we do that most effectively and most efficiently? And so I think that there might need to be some time offline with Dante and with Mia and with and maybe talking to our FDNY folks as well. Dante, Mia, is there anything that occurs to you in terms of folks that might be most effective with to partner on a project of this scope?
I was thinking about say we get a number of volunteers, we create a subcommittee responsible to public safety, health and human social services, and maybe transportation. And there would be a subcommittee that would just be single-minded on this issue. And we would give it 2 or 3 months of work. I mean, 2 or 3 months of research. You raised a question. You're not sure what the agency and the city hall, city government was responsible for this. But from all that I've read, it seems like it's the Department of Law. It's just the law department. Because if you wanted to report somebody for being non-compliant, there's a protocol that you have to file with the law department, and you go from there. So,
that's good to know. That's good to know. Thank you, Dante. Did you have any? You came off mute. Did you have any thoughts in this area?
Yeah, likely the Department of Buildings. This definitely sounds like that would be up their avenue. They probably already have the data. We just got to ask for it.
Yep.
Yeah, they might have to break it down just for the community board, but that's an easy ask. So yeah, we could do something like that.
That's what I was thinking. Mr. Pruitt, the Department of Buildings is responsible for going to every single building in New York and taking note of whether they're compliant with fire laws, whether they're compliant with ADA laws. And so I think that this data is already available. We just have to go get it.
Okay.
And so I'll talk with Dante a little bit more about us reaching out to the Department of Buildings, who for me is probably the body in the city that has the most data available on kind of what's happening in buildings. Every single thing in New York is controlled by the Department of Buildings when it comes to like what is actually going on from a building perspective, who has a fire escape, who has the right fire doors in their hallway, who has the right amount of clearance between the sidewalk and the front door, whether the front doors are compliant, all of those sorts of things. I am the president of my own building, co-op building, and the amount of work that we do at the Department of Buildings and the amount of compliance that the Department of Buildings has to ensure. Does your elevator work, right? Like, are all of the correct permits posted for your elevators? Do your boilers work? They do everything inside of buildings. They almost certainly are tracking ADA compliance in buildings as well. And so why don't you let us go to the Department of Buildings as a next step and see what data they have available rather than having to do kind of a grassroots campaign. I think that the city already has this data, and then we'll come back to you.
All right. Okay. Well, I appreciate the time. I'm glad to meet you all, and onward and forward.
Absolutely. Onward and forward. Thank you for joining us today, Mr. Pruitt. Welcome to the community board, and looking forward to working on this project with you.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Of course.
So long.
So long. Take care. Great. So thank you all for hanging out and you know, listening to us work through that for the last 10 minutes. We want to dig into our agenda. There's a few items that we have, and obviously we have lots of businesses represented here and lots of applications for review. I think that that should be kind of the next thing that we do, and we'll wait for Officer Charles to arrive. There are 4 businesses that we have on the agenda today. I believe that the application number 1, if I am correct, is for Glow NYC. And so we'll dig into that. And then for Janelle and Yaakov, our committee members, iPhone, are you a committee member or are you a business? There's one person here represented as iPhone. Okay, we'll figure it out later. So our first applicant tonight is Glow NYC, and we'll turn it over to the representative or the business owner to speak on behalf of the business. Perhaps you could tell us a little bit about just your restaurant, which I'm familiar with personally, you know, kind of what you do, how long you've been in the neighborhood, what kind of liquor license you have. My understanding is that this is a renewal. And if you could tell us a little bit more about what you intend to do with that license, kind of what your presence looks like in the community, that would be helpful to us. You are I cannot hear you. I see that you are off mute, but I'm getting no audio. I don't know if it's a settings thing and your sound may be routed through a external microphone or something. For now, what I'll say is, if it's okay, we're gonna move on to the second applicant.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Yes. Hi, my name is Marek Shved from RSNYC. We actually originally did this license for David.
We lost your audio again. Yeah, it's still gone. If you want to log in on another device, you certainly can. It's all right, we'll wait. Thank you for your patience, everybody.
Hello.
Yep, you just have to mute yourself on the first device or turn off the volume.
I left that meeting.
There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about that. So we originally did this license a couple years ago. This is our first renewal. It is a neighborhood kind of wine bar for better sense of the word. They don't have full kitchen, pretty extensive wine list. The place is operated by Jeff, owned by David Schneider. Operates pretty non-starter hours between noon and 7 p.m. Moving forward. It's very low key, kind of just an appetizer, tapas. They prepare there without having a full kitchen. They're thinking about it, actually putting it right now moving forward because they took over the space in the back. I think that place has been very well received by the neighborhood. I don't believe they've had any problems, any infractions or violations. They still have an A from health department. And this is our first renewal, I believe. Yes.
Great. Sorry for the squeaking. That's my dog who is excited about a toy. Thank you for telling us a little bit about your business. For members of the community or members of the committee, are there any questions that you have about the application? Pizza bar, right, that serves wine and a little bit of cider and open from 12 to 7, and you have some other items on the menu, and it's on the corner of, what is it, Rogers and
Roger and Bedford.
and Bed, right?
I
I
think so.
don't know. The cross street is something else. Rogers, Bedford,
Yeah.
and Rogers are both. So, right.
Yeah.
Sterling and Lefferts.
No full liquor license, just beer and wine.
Yeah, just beer and wine.
Yeah. Yes.
Anybody have any questions? Seems like everybody's pretty satisfied with that. If nobody has any questions, thank you for coming, Mr. Schwett. And
what's the address of the property? I'm looking here. Did you the FDNY NY you took care of that, right? NYP FDNY checked with them to make sure there's no complaints on the property.
All of the applicants didn't have had no incidents of record for either one of the agencies.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
the address is 406 Rogers Avenue.
406 Rogers, yeah, 406 Rogers.
It's page 4 of the application, I believe. Page 1. Great. Seeing no other questions, I believe we can move on to applicant number 2. Mia, we don't need to have a vote at this point, right? We also don't have quorum, so we can hold until the executive committee meeting to do that.
Yeah, essentially, there is no quorum. You just have to report to executive, and they will determine if they will move forward. But applicants should hang back should any other questions come up.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the second applicant that we have here is under the house at 1285 Nostrand Avenue. Do we have a representative?
Hey, Richard is here. I'm on here.
Okay, great. Similarly, it would be great if you could walk us through your application a little bit and tell us about
Sure.
your business.
Sure. So we opened up as a coffee shop / bar right in the middle of COVID. Didn't really go too good. So I took on 2 new partners in the last 6 months. Who's on the call right now, who is David and Mark in the house. Concept will pretty much be just a bar, built out of pretty much a full kitchen. So we have a backyard that's actually licensed also. So concept wise will be, full bar, still with some cocktail drinks based on the coffee team. But we'll open up a little later hours, probably about 3 o'clock in the afternoon till about midnight most weeks, and about 2 p.m. on midnights. So full kitchen in there right now. I'm hiring some new chefs, some new people to come in to slightly change menu. But today we're operating a bar with pretty much a coffee team to the bottom. And that's 1285 Nostrand Avenue between Clarkson and Winthrop. Questions? I mean, David and Mark is on the call also, David's there pretty much there every day to answer a lot of questions if need be, or Mark on concept.
You mentioned that the hours that you're looking to be open is 3 to 12 on the weekdays and 3 to 2 on Friday and
Saturday, correct.
Yeah, your application says 3 to 2 Monday through Thursday as the hours of operation. Can you clarify which is correct?
I mean, roughly, I put it on the application, but roughly we close up at 12 o'clock because I'm just giving you guys the actual time. But yeah, 2 o'clock, very rarely. I put it on there because that's the worst case scenario.
Yeah, I will say that is a major sticking point often for members of the community as the community board votes on it in the larger quorum. And I think that the idea of businesses being open on a Monday night until 2 o'clock is oftentimes not agreeable to many, understandably. And so I think this is only my own opinion.
Sure.
Totally up to you as to how you would like to proceed with your application. I think you will likely receive a better reception if your intent is to be open Monday through Thursday until 12 o'clock, to put 12 o'clock on the application.
Okay. Mark, Davion?
But others can agree or disagree.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. So could I swing back to you and get you back to you on that one, if you don't mind?
Yeah,
totally. Just have an internal discussion exactly if anything that's planned or anything that's going to fall out the window.
That's totally fine. It's your application, and of course, you're welcome to submit whatever you want on your application.
Yeah, I understand.
Naming for you that, in my experience, sometimes that is a major thing that the community looks at, is kind of what are the hours of operation.
Yeah, I copied it from the last one, pretty much.
Yeah, got you. And yeah. I think, they oftentimes think about, but it's good that you've had no complaints from the FDNY or from the NYPD, right? And the outdoor hours seem reasonable enough. And so I think, if you've had success in the past and you're well regarded by the community, that's totally fine. Just naming that as something that usually comes up through the course of conversation. Okay. And understandably is something I think that folks are concerned with. It can bring up stuff at 2 o'clock on a Monday or a Wednesday night.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Any other questions from folks on the call about the content of the application?
Okay, I'll go on mute.
Okay. Seeing no questions at this time, I would say let's keep it moving and move along to the third applicant, which is Silver Rice. And, folks from the House, we would encourage you to stay on the line in case anybody has any questions. We have a few community members here today who may choose to ask questions later. But with that, we'll turn it over to the applicants from Silver Rice at 575 Flatbush Avenue.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, hi, my name is Hideki Kato from Silver Rice, 575 Flatbush Avenue. We sell takeout sushi and also sake, beer, small side dishes. And since pandemic happened, we haven't opened door for customer yet. So we only take orders through third-party apps such as GrabHub, DoorDash, Uber Eats. And of course, customer can come to the window and we can take order as well. So today I'm here to apply for beer and wine license renewal.
Are you planning to reopen the restaurant to folks like soon, or are you finding that your business model is working fine as is?
Well, we've been trying to open the door for the customer for about a month. We have employee shortage and it's hard to manage with all the delivery order coming in. Takeout sushi is somehow very popular among those apps. And then we need more people to deal with walking customers. So we try to find a way to manage walking customers, but we are planning to open the door, especially it's getting cold. I don't want customer to wait outside for a long time. Understandable.
You guys get a lot of orders from my house personally. It's because y'all are best delivery sushi in the neighborhood.
Appreciate it.
And so just a few other things just to share from your application, just I know that folks usually think about is your hours of operation are 4:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. every day. So that's Monday through Sunday, every day of the week. You have a relatively small seating area inside of your restaurant, should you choose to open it to the public if your staffing issues get resolved. I think there's 2 tables and 8 seats that are available inside of the restaurant. No real music or outside space or anything like that to speak of. You have the attachment in the form of your menu. I would say one thing for me that appears to be absent is just, and Mia, correct me if I'm wrong, do you need community support for renewal?
The signatures of support are not required for renewal applications, only initials.
Got it. Only initial applications, not initials as in one's initials. Got it. Okay, cool. Great. Anybody else? Yakov, go for it.
Yeah, first of all, Primo, it's not required even they should appear before us for renewal. It's just recommended. It's not a requirement. I'm wondering how it works with food delivery and alcohol. If you're using third-party delivery services, what happens if somebody orders a beer with their dinner? Are they required to check they're over 21? How does that work? Do you have to meet them on location? How does that work? It's not so much about you. I'm asking in general because I don't have clarity on that.
Usually, for example, DoorDash delivery guy check ID if they are over 21 years old. And also, according to the, I think, the liquor law, you have to order sufficient amount of food with alcohol if customer order for delivery or takeout. And we always check each orders to make sure customer is not just ordering alcohol. That's something we always making sure.
Did it ever happen that the third-party delivery service brought back alcohol because they carded it and it was underage, or they could?
Oh, it never happened to us.
Thank you.
That's a great question, Yakov. I would say, in my own personal experience, and really helpful context as well. I'd say in my own personal experience, because I've ordered a beer with food before, and what happens is it seems to be the third party will get in crackdown mode for a month or two, and they'll card folks, and then that stops at some point, and they go back to kind of a more relaxed situation. You do have to certify that you're over the age of 21 when you purchase any alcohol on an app, but of course, a 16-year-old could check that box, and it is up to the kind of delivery person who is a representative of the third-party app to certify that that person is over the age of 21. Whether they do that or not is not something I can speak to truly. All right. Any other questions from community members or committee members? All right. Well, thank you so much for coming and speaking with us. Would urge you again just to hang out for a little while as we move through the applications. And we are up to our fourth applicant, which is Island Escape, located at 807 Nostrand Avenue. Mr. Kelly seems to have
Michael Kelly representing the applicant. With me is Carly Lewis, the owner, and Naharia Murray Mazel, who's going to be the manager. This is an on-premise liquor license application for Island Escape LLC. We'll be doing this business as Island Escape. We're a full-service Caribbean restaurant with a full kitchen and menu. Like you said, we're located at 807 Nostrand at the corner of Union Street. Carly is bringing back a restaurant to this location that was run by her parents for 20 years back in the 1970s to 1990s called Duwar. The restaurant had won many food awards. Carly currently owns Johnny's Chicken and Waffles in Atlanta and Spice House in Lithonia, Georgia. Both of her restaurants have full liquor licenses. Carly lives in Atlanta, so she's bringing up her manager, Naharia. Hopefully I said that name right, up here. She's worked at Carly's two restaurants in Georgia, at the Deja Vu restaurant in Queens from October 2017 until December of 2020. And also Hush Restaurant in Queens from August 2019 to January 2021, when she went down south to work for Carly. Carly will be dropping in when she comes up to New York and will be involved in the day-to-day operations via the internet and phone. The premise was previously a restaurant called Exotic Roadie Express from about 2013 to 2017. It has not been rented since then. We'll have a small 800-foot premise with 10 tables and 28 seats. There are 8 seats at the bar. We'll have background music only and no outdoor seating. The hours of operation will be 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Sunday through Thursday, 7 a.m. to 2 a.m. on Friday and Saturday. We will have deliveries, but we won't be delivering alcohol. always turns into a problem. We'll have 7 employees on the dinner shift. We'll probably have about 5 on the other. We will be hiring from the immediate area. We believe familiar faces will help our business, and having employees from the neighborhood will always be a plus. We did submit photos of the restaurant will look like when completed. There are no stairs to walk in the restaurant, so it is ADA compliant. There will be new construction, so the bathroom will have to be ADA compliant as Department of Buildings regulations. The building is from the 1920s, so there's no C of O because it was built in 1920 before they were required, but there has been restaurants there for a long time. We did the postings and have submitted signatures of support, and if there are any questions, we'll be happy to answer.
Nice little presentation. Thank you for that.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. Hello.
Hi, I'm Carly.
Did you want to add anything, Carly?
Yeah, my dad and his wife, I grew up in this restaurant when I was a kid, and I guess I was born to open restaurants because now I own restaurants, and now I'm bringing back the family restaurant from when I was a kid. And I am my dad's sole caregiver and his wife sole caregiver. They're old now and I take care of them. And I think it would be a dream come true to just open up the family restaurant.
Thank you for sharing that. And then Miss Murray, do you want to tell us how to pronounce your name? And also if you want to introduce yourself and say anything, we'd love to hear from you as well.
Hi everyone, my name is Naharia.
Thank you.
I'm really excited about this opportunity. It's definitely just from the background and history of the restaurant, and then just given the opportunity to bring the different Caribbean, how can I say it, different Caribbean traditions into the neighborhood so that, it offers everything to everyone. And especially with hiring from the neighborhood, bringing familiar faces for customers and bringing us more clientele as well.
Great. I think, in terms of just kind of like looking at the hours of operation, just so that like everybody's on the same page, we're looking at 7 a.m. to 11, 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. and then Friday and Saturday 7 to 2 a.m. and Sunday 7 to 11. And then I think one of the things that I can say is there any outdoor seating for this space?
No.
Okay, that's good to know. Are you intending to have any live music at the establishment?
No, it's too small to put any type of band in there.
Mm-hmm. That's helpful. And then I think the only other thing that it comes up for me and may come up for other folks, and I speak here as a community member rather than as the kind of chair of this committee, is that we have 2 folks from Atlanta on the call, but nobody from New York representing the business, right? And you've told us that you will hire locally, which is appreciated as something that is intended. But
Nahara is moving down to Georgia just to open this restaurant for us.
Moving up to Brooklyn?
Yeah,
moving up to Brooklyn.
Yeah,
she's relocating. And then my family still owns the house on 1233 Union Street, which is 4 blocks from there. So we still stay there.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, we've had the house since the 60s. And we still have the house, is still standing. 1233 Union Street is the address. That's where I grew up and we still live there.
And helpful, thank you. And how do you intend to run kind of like the local hiring process? Will that be Nahara who's running that?
Yes, I will come down. I'm planning, my job is to just stay there. What I usually do is stay at the restaurants for a year, run it, make sure it's up and running, make sure everything's intact. And then, so I'll live in New York for a year.
Good to know. Yaakov.
Is that Union between Brooklyn and New York? Where's 1233 Union?
1233 Union is right down the street. It's not even it's a half a block from the restaurant. It's in the same block.
It's Union in Brooklyn, New York.
Yes, that's where the restaurant is. The restaurant is 807 Nostrand Avenue.
Oh, it's on.
Where's 1233 Union? What are the cross streets for 1233 Union?
Nostrand
That should
and
be
Union.
Nostrand Rogers.
She's 4 houses down from the restaurant.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, it looks like it's between Nostrand and what, Rogers next, I believe. Yeah. Thank you for asking the question, Yaakov. Okay. Are there any other questions from members of the community or members of the committee?
There's something I saw in the application. So will there be security personnel at the restaurant or not? Because on the application, it says it's clicked off no, but then in the comment, it says we will have security on Fridays and Saturdays. So
and we did think about it, but we're not going to have security. But if situations arise, then that would be something to think about. Because it is a small restaurant. There's 28 seats and 8 bar stools.
Great question, Janelle. And a sharp eye. Okay. Seeing no other questions, I think we can hold there. Yaakov, did you have another question? Or Akita, who is on the line? No, all good. Okay. So Mia, Yaakov, Dante, correct me if I'm wrong, but I guess at this time, the applicants can move out of the meeting, and we can kind of move on to the FDNY portion of this conversation. I will say to the applicants, just thank you for being here. As a next step, we're going to, kind of vote on these applications during our executive committee meeting, and you'll hear directly from the board office about whether your application moves on to the general community board, which happens, Mia, at the end of the month, right? It's like the 4th Tuesday or something of the month.
Yes, the executive committee meeting is next Wednesday, so the applicants will hear Thursday, and the general board meeting will be the next Monday.
Yep. So that is those are the next steps in the process. If there are any changes that you would like to make to your application per our conversations today, you can make those amendments a bit later. At this point, I don't think that we are asking for any amendments to any of these applications. They seem to be full and complete applications. Again, for, I believe it was the house. Again, you can feel free to do whatever you want with the application. Let us know if you'd like to keep it the same, if you'd like to make any amendments. But next week, we'll be voting inside of the executive committee meeting. You do have the opportunity to make shifts should you like to. Kyrie, welcome. Love to see you here. Your audio is a little bit. Oh, okay. Your audio is a little bit jumbled, but welcome to the committee meeting. And so those are the next steps. Let us know if you want to make changes. We will be voting on this next week as an initial vote, and then there will be a second vote at the larger community board meeting should you move on to that step. So appreciate your presence here. You can feel free to, if you have any questions after this conversation, feel free to pass them along to our board office where you submitted the questions, and they will pass them along to the committee. But have a good evening, and thank you for your presence here. Thank you for showing up and speaking on behalf of your businesses. And we look forward to partnering with you moving forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Of course.
Appreciate you guys.
Nice to meet everyone.
Nice meeting everyone.
Okay. Kyrie, welcome. Thank you for accepting potentially our invitation to join our committee. You get familiar with kind of the structure of some of these meetings as we move along. Yaakov knows a ton because he was the chair of this committee in the past, and we have great support from our board officers. Teresa, also welcome to the meeting. Feel free to hop in if you have any questions or want to share anything. Janelle is one of our esteemed committee members. And we started off this meeting by hearing from a member of the community board, Milford Pruitt, who wanted to come and share some concerns around ADA compliance in the neighborhood. We were supposed to hear from Officer Charles from the 71st Precinct, who had confirmed her attendance, but has not been able to join us thus far. They did give us the warning.
It's very possible. There's a very big event tonight in Crown Heights. A lot of street closures, a holiday event. And I know that they're, with the weather and everything, they're having a lot of trouble. So I'm assuming that's what happened.
Understood. And Yaakov, that's for the second night. It's for Sukkot. Is that what's happening right now?
It's this year is called the Hakel year, which is after a year which is called Shemitah, which in the Holy Land they don't plow their land. They don't in biblical times, Talmudic times, in times of the temple. The Hakel year they would celebrate. They'd make huge gatherings. So it's Sukkot because of the significance of the year. They're having like a huge concerts, full on with light and music on Eastern Parkway, which in Brooklyn, New York. It's like a huge production going on.
It sounds like it. I've seen a lot of lulavs and esrogs in the street over the last few days. We appreciate you being with us today, Yaakov. I know that it's not ideal. And my apologies for scheduling it on an inconvenient night, truly.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Understanding that the officer probably won't be able to join us tonight, and we've reviewed the 4 applications. I think that the next thing that we can do is talk about the FDNY community programming. This was something that came up during our conversation from our first committee meeting, which was thinking a little bit about what are ways that we can make sure that we're meeting the needs of the local businesses with liquor licenses, but also the committee expressed an interest in making sure that we were engaging with both NYPD and FDNY to bring resources to the community. And as we approach the colder months, we know that there can oftentimes be heightened instances of fires inside of buildings and inside of private homes. And so after last meeting, we requested that the board office kind of let us know what the FDNY's availability would be for joining our meeting or sharing resources. And very helpfully, thank you. I don't know if it was Dante or if it was me or if it was both of you, but thank you. They sent over a list of community resources that the FDNY offers, which you will see is kind of the last attachment here. It's a 4-page attachment of various services that the FDNY provides to communities. If you go through them, there's a list of interesting ones. The board office was again kind enough to highlight kind of like the 4 most viable options, which starts off with number 1, a fire safety education presentation or table. They do request, there is no minimum amount of people. It can be tailored to, I guess, any size. It's a 60 to 90 minute event. Oh, they do need 25 minimum people. So that is something to take into account. I believe that they give out like fire alarms is the word I'm looking for. But we could do this in a community. We could do it at a large building. Maybe the housing committee would be interested in partnering with us on something like this, and we could do it at Ebbets Field or at what's the tall towers, Tivoli. I'm just thinking about literally.
I think landlords are required to, it's the landlord's responsibility to make sure the tenants have the smoke alarms and all the alarms.
It is. Sometimes they don't do their responsibility though, as we well know.
So it costs for one.
Yes, but also as a public safety committee, we can also offer events to the community. Folks may not have.
So what I'm telling you, what my point is not, maybe I'm not educated on what's in the building. Maybe residences should be the target audience. Is my point. Not necessarily. It may be a greater need. Homeowners may be a greater need, because as far as I know, that the city is very strict on smoke alarms in buildings. You get very serious fines, and if you could go through and if there are tenants here that know otherwise, please share. But I know in recent years they've really come down on landlords that don't put in their building, and I think if they call the city, they are going to put it in. Yeah. So I'm
Sure.
just saying residents may be a better target versus
You're saying
tenants.
homeowner residents, which makes sense, but I feel like I may have done
A lot of homeowners.
I lost your audio there, Yakov. You muted yourself.
I muted myself because I said what I said. I'm you know.
Oh, you seem to be mid-sentence. You said a lot of homeowners something, but I perhaps shortchanged the presentation of what this event actually is by saying it's smoke alarms, because it goes far beyond that. So things like cooking safety, it even says, you know, if you're lighting candles in your home, like what are the safest ways to do that? So a lot of it has to do with fire avoidance and also escape. If you do find yourself in a fire situation, what are the easiest ways to get out of your buildings? Also covering things like what are the best practices for utilizing both smoke and carbon monoxide alarms. Also, fire safety tips for children or homes that may have children, natural gas safety, how to safely use electrical items. And so it goes very far beyond kind of just handing out fire alarms here and really telling people what is the best way that you can avoid fire in lots of different scenarios. And I think, you know, that's kind of what we are aiming to cover, is really providing awareness to the community around fire safety. That to me sounds like a kind of achievable thing. If we go down to number 3, we can also do a local firehouse visit, which sounds cute. Maybe that's something that we would want to do in partnership with maybe, I don't know, youth services committee or something. I don't know, the education committee. It has a minimum number of 6 people. Honestly, I also think it would be good for the community board period to like go and visit some of the local resources. And so whether that's this committee or a group of 6 people from the larger community board, it might be helpful for us to get out there and to see and to go visit a fire station. I personally have not done that in our neighborhood and like meet firefighters and do that sort of thing. That's something that's on the table as well. Then I would say the fire safety house mobile trailer needs a minimum of 100 people. I don't think that that's something that I'm going to commit to. And then the last one is there's 2 kind of, well, I'll say the last one, yeah, because that one has a minimum of 25 people, is Operation Sidewalk. And so that one's about you can get a fire department ladder engine company to come to a community event, which sounds like something that could be a good opportunity. Oh, Marek, you can feel free to leave the leave the community board, but I appreciate you being here. We were telling, yeah, we'll follow up with you next week on the status of your application. There's also this opportunity to, yes, like I was saying, have a fire ladder basically come and speak to a group of people. For me, a lot of these feel quite overwrought. I feel like the first one is potentially the best solution, just a fire safety seminar basically before we head into some dangerous months. We would only be committing to bringing 25 people, which I think we could make happen. It'd also be interesting for us to visit a firehouse, but that would require people to, the community board to go, and it's less for the community and more for the community board. So I'll pause and I'm just interested in what folks' thoughts are in terms of engaging with this potential event.
I think the fire safety would be you guys' best bet. Seeing, I believe it was last winter, was that horrible fire uptown, and it was based off of space heaters being plugged into multiple outlets and extension cords. I mean, by adults. So you're never too old to learn what can cause a fire.
Yeah, maybe this is also something that we offer virtually to people. It might be easier to get 25 attendees if we did it virtually than if we did it in person. A thought.
I agree. Yeah, if FDNY is able to do it virtually, definitely think that's the way to go. And if we do it virtually, you know, if the days work out, we can do it more than once, right? So that gives us a little more bandwidth, but, you know, depending on what the committee wants and what capacity FDNY has, more than happy to make that request. And then like some of the other ones that I highlighted, because that was me, you know, I think one of them was the fire ladder. That, you know, that's more applicable to like the community fair in the spring, bigger events like that. You know, not every committee typically has something to bring to the community. So, you know, partnering with some of the city agencies, you know, might satisfy, you know, what the committee can do for the community fair. So that's why I highlighted that. But yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Felice, would love to hear from you. Thanks for raising your hand.
Hi, yes. I've been going in and out because I'm trying to make both your meeting and also the Parks meeting. So I'm here now. I sit on the 71st Precinct Community Council, and I'm hearing you say, Dante, partnering up with other organizations. I think it would be great to partner up with this public safety group, with the community council police officers. I mean, I think that would be a great help, don't you think? This is just a suggestion. I would like to get your feedback on that.
That is exactly what we intended to do tonight. We invited them. They were not able to make it. They said that they would be here.
I'm sorry, excuse me. I'm right here.
I'm sorry, what?
I said, excuse me. I am right here. I sit on
you're
the
saying you
71st
are.
Precinct
Oh, okay.
Community
I
Council.
apologize. I did not hear you correctly. So
no, it's okay.
No insult
worries.
intended, you know?
No worries.
Yeah.
You know, I'm here to help our community, help one another, and to make our living conditions just so much better. Let's work together.
Yeah, absolutely. How would you suggest that we can work together in the future? And really appreciate your attendance tonight.
Well, when we have our meeting, and I'll let the office know, I'll speak with the president, which is Carl Cohen, and speak with him about how we can merge together or engage and getting the police officers to be a part of our community board. Okay, we'll figure this out and how we can do this. This is where we all have to collaborate and see, you know, what's the best way of doing things. Yes.
Absolutely. So we appreciate your partnership moving forward. Would love to have your attendance and, of course, members of the NYPD at our meetings. That's very much our intent. So you let us know what the best way to do that is once you connect with your folks, and we'd love to have you on this committee as well if that's something that you're interested in.
Of course, Dante. You know that.
It just so happened I did run into Felice when I was leaving the office yesterday. Felice and I will talk.
Yes, we will talk. Thank you.
Of course.
Okay. Janelle, any thoughts on kind of what is a preferred method of engagement on this topic?
I think the fire safety training, I'm just gonna like echo everyone's like comments. I think it's the best route just because like it's just that basic like knowledge and information that can be like useful to like everyone. And I think 25 is doable. We can like also like partner with other committees to see if like any folks from like other committees might be interested in it. You never know. So yeah.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Great, thank you. Kyrie, Teresa, I want to open it up to you as well if you have any thoughts or questions or suggestions.
Hello, how's everyone? I'm just observing. I'm loving the way the meeting has been going thus far. I think you've been doing a phenomenal job, Primo. And I too agree with what Felice was saying. I think it would be mutually beneficial if us and the community board for public safety can definitely partner up with the police force and get that involved a little more. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that can materialize further. But thank you. That's all I have for that.
Awesome. Thank you for being here, Kyrie, on such short notice. Really appreciate it, and excited to have you join this committee. If you will take us up on our offer, it'd be great to have you as a part of this.
so much. And I was here on this committee last year, and I really loved it. I think y'all did a great job too. So yeah, I would love to come back around and see what public safety is doing.
Awesome. All are welcome. I love to see this committee growing. We've only had 6 in the past. Yaakov, you're joining us on camera. What's up? Good to see you, my friend.
My phone died. But I actually have to run, but I do want to bring an order of new business for potential. So, over the past 2 years, I was keeping the committee updated on this environmental strategy I'm doing to try to raise awareness about the SLA laws and potentially change the law. We spoke about it at several committee meetings that over the 3 years or 2 years, whatever it was, where I chaired the public safety, many times liquor stores would come to the committee and they were not aware of the laws. They simply didn't know it. For example, it's illegal to sell somebody intoxicated alcohol. If somebody comes into your establishment drunk, he could be 21, he could be 50. You're not allowed to sell him. You're not allowed to sell him. And if you do sell him, there's both criminal and legal consequences, civil consequences. So I had this idea to make the law mandatory. So I actually met in the last month with the chairman of the SLA, with one of our elected officials. We had a conversation about making the law mandatory, and it was brought to our attention that it's doable. The SLA, they can't say outright they're going to support it, but they did say they have no issue. They don't see why they have the resources for it to happen. They don't see why would be any issue with it happening, which is essentially the politically correct way of saying it's okay to do. But we would have to pass legislation in the Assembly and Senate that would change the law that would essentially force new applicants that are coming for SLA licenses to be trained in, it's called the TIPS awareness program, or the some similar program, but they essentially would learn about the law and the dangers of alcohol and prevent it would prevent a lot of, it happens all the time when an establishment, somebody comes in drunk and served alcohol and they go and they do something wrong. The owner says, nobody told me, it was my responsibility. We hear it all the time. It would be a good thing. The challenge I have is on this call, which we had the heads of some major prevention programs across the state, we say this is lobbying. And because we are involved in nonprofit organizations, we may not be allowed to lobby for this law to be changed. So I'm waiting for clarity exactly what the red line is. Maybe I could do it. They can't do it. Maybe some of the groups could do it. But I'm wondering potentially if we can't officially lobby for the law to be changed, potentially a public safety committee could. This may be something the committee would want to take on, but it would require essentially the initial, you don't have to worry about, our local elected, at least, I'm fairly confident they would probably be willing to get on board here. One of them is already on board, but it's more reaching out to the others and seeing if to create a coalition. This is something I think the committee maybe consider, but again, it's going to be a lot of work and it would require a lot of investments. Just a thought.
It's a really interesting thought, Yaakov, and thank you for pursuing it in the early stages, or maybe your mid stage already at this point. Potentially, one thing that we could do, again, I think, this is maybe something for you to look into or for our board staff to look into. Maybe we should also be meeting with like the local electeds and state assembly members if we're truly interested in pursuing legislation to be drafted on this issue. Maybe, running the idea by the local electeds.
So that was done already. It's simply, it's not even about introducing the law. It's about whatever, I'm not really sure what happens once the law is introduced. Somebody simply has to reach out to everybody to make sure they have all the key people on board. It's real networking with the elected officials. It's not at a stage like it has to be vetted. The elected officials have to see whether or not there'll be opposition from their small businesses. That's the only real concern. But it's not like we have to meet and we have to figure it out. It's been done already. It's just a question of whether or not there's the committee members have the time and the resources, and whether or not, maybe Mia, you would know, if is the community board allowed to lobby?
No, we cannot.
So you can't do it either. So you have the same restrictions as I would have potentially.
Correct.
So then scrap it, but you could put it in the minutes anyway, Mia.
Put it in the minutes. And thank you for doing the homework on it, Yaakov. And thank you always for bringing creative ideas.
But we could potentially, community board members could lobby, but not in their capacity of the community board, probably.
You might have to have a secret subcommittee, not on paper. So
that don't put in the Mia. That don't
put it in the notes, Mia. No, I'm kidding.
It's all recorded. Actually, it's the New York State law, if I'm not mistaken. The requirement, that was a joke. We have to make note. I think the legal requirement is to record all the meetings and transcribe them. I think it's the board's legal requirement to actually transcribe.
All of these jokes will also be in the transcript. Don't worry, Yaakov. We will.
No, I'm saying that.
We're putting it all in the notes. Linda, I see that you've come and you had your hand raised for some time. Yaakov, are you okay?
I got to run. Happy holidays.
Okay,
bye.
Happy holidays, Yaakov.
Thank you for being here. Hi, good evening, everyone. I hope you don't mind the imposition. My name's Linda Wilson, and I am coming to you by way of the 77th Precinct Community Council and Park Slope Civic Council. And the reason I'm here at your public safety meeting is because of the theme of the Park Slopes Halloween Parade this year. It's Hometown Heroes. And what better folks are hometown heroes than those who are the champions of public safety and all of those who work to achieve that end. So it's with that in mind that I come to you to extend an invitation to you all and your families and neighbors to the Halloween parade on 7th Avenue on October 31st. The kickoff is at 6:30 p.m., starting at 14th Street and 7th Avenue, and the parade will go along 7th Avenue down to 3rd Street and terminate at the Old Stone House on 3rd Street and 5th Avenue. So if any of the public safety folks and your families are interested in dressing up as some of our hometown heroes, or not, or to just participate in some of the fun that's happening in the next neighborhood, we welcome you. We'd love to have you, and would like to get together with you all again as public safety committee people. And I hope that at some point, perhaps we can collaborate from the 78th Precinct Community Council side of things as well. So again, my name is Linda Wilson. If anyone's interested in attending or even participating, feel free to shoot me an email at lindawilson014@gmail.com. And thank you. And if you don't mind, I'd like to stay tuned into the meeting. You all have some pretty inspiring ideas.
Of course, you're welcome to stay. I fear you caught us at the end, so the inspiration may be coming to a close, but what a pleasant note to end our meeting on. Linda, thank you for joining us, and thank you for extending such a kind invitation to us.
Yes, my pleasure.
I want to make sure that we get your email address also, so that we can potentially just share this with the larger community board as an event that they might attend with their families. It was Linda Wilson
014
yep
@gmail.com.
Great. And do you have like a flyer for the event or something that we could maybe circulate?
I do. I will. Give me your email address and I will forward it to you.
Great. I can give you my email address, and we can give you the community board's email address. I'm Primo. I'm the chair of the Public Safety Committee.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Primo, very quickly. You cannot provide your email address.
I can't provide my email
yes,
address.
because we upload these videos to YouTube, so we don't need any spam in your box. Right.
And may I ask, may I ask, please, when you say Wilson, does that include an S or is it WILSON?
Yes, WILSON.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Linda, you can definitely send that over to BK09 -1
-1
at cb.nyc.gov and we'll get it over to Primo and to the committee members.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And if for some reason you guys don't get it, you have my email address, so maybe you can shoot me a private email and I'll send it over to you then. So if you don't get it after this meeting, just give me a shout and I'll send it over. I know that we come together a lot because of strife or the prevention of strife. So I wanted to jump in here with, with a festive note for the community so that we can start thinking that public safety always doesn't have to be meshed in fear, anxiety, and such things like that. So I thought you all might be receptive when I heard the conversation about inviting folks from the firehouses over, and that's always fun in a small town environment. And so to have that happen in our local neighborhoods is really refreshing.
We certainly are open. Of course, how could we not be welcoming to such a warm invitation? So thank you for that.
My pleasure.
And we definitely, somebody will take you up on it. I just put it in my own calendar. It sounds like a nice way to celebrate the holiday.
Yeah, good family fun.
It does, it does. I wish we had something in Crown Heights, but we have something in Park Slope, so we can join that. I'm looking at the agenda, and I think that we have reached the end of our agenda, which is great. And we did so in a very short amount of time, but I guess just, what we'll do next is we'll bring these applications to our executive committee meeting. Kyrie is here. Mia Dante, he's technically he's just like, I can just appoint him as a member of the committee, right? So he's on the committee now. We probably do technically have, we had when Yaakov was here, we had a quorum, but we'll move it along and we'll bring it to the executive committee.
If you're going to appoint him, then send me like an official email. So it's like
he is appointed to the committee. Okay, all right. I'll follow up on my earlier email, which I sent like a few hours ago, and make it official. Kyrie, if you accept, which you can do so via email too. And then you accept, Kyrie. You're on board. I don't want to force it on you.
Nice, congratulations.
Great. We love it. And Felice, if you're interested too, I know you have two committees that you're doing at the same time. We'll send it over to you. We'll send over an invitation to you as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, sounds good. And it sounds like we're going to pursue the fire safety education presentation. And so Mia and Dante, I'll connect with you afterwards as to how we can kind of drive that forward. And then let's make sure that we invite Officer Nefertiti Charles to our next meeting as well. So we can, and I know tonight was a tricky night because of the holiday celebrations, but we'll get her in here. Hopefully we don't have 4 SLA applications next time, and we have more time for FDNY and NYPD to talk to us as a committee. That's all. Mia, can you share with me the next date for our meeting? Sorry to put you on the spot with calendar.
It's fine. Just give me a moment, folks.
No worries. I just want to make sure that it's properly secured on my calendar and all of the rest of the committee members.
Second Thursday is November 10th. I'll send out a calendar invite tomorrow.
Beautiful. Thank you. You know how I feel about calendar appointments.
I know.
Maybe just send the whole year's worth of calendar appointments to really make my day.
Christmas. I got you.
You got me on Christmas?
That's great.
I can accept that. And I appreciate you.
You guys have jokes.
Yeah, we do got jokes. For everybody else, any last thoughts? Of course, want to open it up and just see if folks have any thoughts or feelings that they want to share before we adjourn for the night. Everybody's ready to eat dinner. I understand, so am I. Do I need to, there's no motion, right? I can just close the meeting.
No, you got to call for your motion to adjourn.
Oh my God. I would like to call for a motion
Ms.
to
Harry, he has to move the motion, and then Janelle will second it.
You're saying it happened already? No, just do it. Somebody second it. Somebody move it.
I second it. I don't know what's supposed to come in order.
Kyrie has to move the motion.
Move the motion, Kyrie. He's frozen.
Oh, yeah.
I take his smile to mean that he is moving the motion. Yes, we're agreed.
I'd like to make a motion to tonight's meeting.
You were a little broken up, but we heard that you.
Second.
You second. You move it. Thank you. Appreciate you, Kyrie. All right, everybody, have a good night. We're all good here. Okay, Linda, thanks for joining.
Good night,
Hey,
everyone.
good night.
Good night.
Hope
Good
to
night.
see you.
Bye.